The FBI has released graphic new video from the January 6th Capitol attack. They're asking for help identifying suspects who assaulted federal officers during the deadly riots. CBS News senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge joins me now from Washington. Hi there, Catherine. So can you walk us through what is in this video and why the FBI is making it public?
Well, Elaine, the FBI is making this video public because they're 10 months into one of the largest investigations in federal history that's relied on social media and body cam video, yet they have still been unable to identify some of the individuals who they believe are guilty of some of the most violent attacks on federal officers. Let's go to this first piece of video. In the first piece of video, I think this captures probably one of the most horrific attacks during Capitol 6th, January 6th. This is video, you see this here, and you see them beating at the glass with the officers. And you can see on the left-hand side the photo of the suspect that they're trying to apprehend. I'm hoping we have another piece of video here which shows a police officer with his head wedged between the door and the doorway. Here it is right here. This, I think, is one of the most disturbing images that was captured that day. You can't hear the sound, but you can hear the pain of the officer as the rioters reach and grab the face mask and the shield and try and pull him through. You can hear the groaning of the officer. Some of the other video also shows the suspects spraying the Capitol Police. This is bear spray. We talked about this on your show just a few days ago. It has the effect of causing inflammation in the eyes, also in the respiratory system. And most importantly, bear spray comes out of that canister, sometimes at speeds of up to 70 miles an hour. So it can really cause physical injury, almost like a rubber bullet at very close range. Bottom line is that the FBI has all sorts of tools to identify these individuals, yet they're still at a loss as to who they are, and they want the public's help.
It's just so incredibly disturbing to see these new pieces of video, and it'll be interesting to see what leads may come of the public release. Catherine, I also want to ask you, the intelligence community has released an unclassified version of their domestic violent extremism threat assessment. Is that typical to do, and what's new?
Well, it's typical to see an unclassified version released because they want to be as transparent as possible. And this report, I think, is really set apart by the fact that it came at the height of the Capitol riots on January 6th. And it also paints a very vivid picture of this persistent threat from domestic violent extremists inside the United States. I think one of the most interesting and newest elements in it is it talks about how groups who support white supremacy are now expanding their networks to groups overseas. And in some limited cases, they are also traveling overseas. And remember, we talked about this idea, social media, the internet was allowing like-minded individuals to gather together to kind of amplify and reinforce these extremist views. Well, what we see here, of course, and it's very logical, is that physical geographic boundaries really have no way of blocking this type of communication, and that's what the report found.
Well, Catherine, you've also obtained a domestic threat assessment about Washington. Is that going to be used to determine whether security is dialed back at the Capitol?
Well, this is an assessment that was obtained here at CBS News, and it's from what's called the Fusion Center for the D.C. National Capital Region. So this is a group that gathers intelligence from a lot of different sources in order to make recommendations about future action. And it says the threat from domestic violent extremists is persistent. It has not let up, and it remains very focused on institutions as well as individuals. Institutions caught my attention because of the ongoing debate over physical security with the National Guard and the fencing at the Capitol building. And it also discusses at length that they believe the individuals who were ensnared in the riots and who almost felt like emboldened by what happened that day, they will continue to radicalize online, and they may actually take their tools and turn them against the big tech companies that they feel have been turning them in and providing information to federal investigators.
It's so important for people to understand this threat landscape that very much still exists. Catherine Herridge, thank you, as always, for keeping us updated
You're welcome.
on these investigations and threats. Thank you.